The Babadook is an Australian psychological horror film released in 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent, who is also an actor. Upon release, it received both critical and commercial success, receiving $10 million at the box office, compared to its pretty small budget of $2 million. There's also the fact that a shorter version of the film was shown at a film festival in 2005. It was so popular and well received that a Kickstarter was made to raise money for the film we got and they also received help from the South Australian government. Reviews were generally above average, or close to the 90s. The movie received many awards. To name a few, we got the award for Best Horror, award for Best Film, and award for Best Direction. There are many more, but that's like 60 of them. I can't really state all of them now. This is pretty impressive, as in the same year we got some great horror movies, such as Annabelle, Unfriended, The Purge, Tusk, and Paranormal Activities. Well, enough with the info that isn't important. Let's talk about the movie. Let's start with the monster. While many monsters have their unique aspects, the Babadook's uniqueness comes from the surprising fact that he is a gay icon. This wasn't originally the intent of director Jennifer Kent, but thanks to a post by a Tumblr user who presented the Babadook as a gay icon, it just happened. This originally started off as a joke, but escalated to the point where the Babadook was famous for it. They also released a Gay Pride limited edition Blu-ray release of the movie. This radically changed the perspective people had of the Babadook, and proved that horror movie monsters could be gay and still be terrifying in their own way. The movie centers around Amelia, who can't come to terms with her husband's death that happened 7 years ago, and a child Samuel who says everything that comes to his mind, and their unlucky interactions with the cursed book that houses the Babadook. For your information, the goals of the Babadook are to torment families that don't believe in him, generally done through the possession of the parent. After he's done tormenting the family, he goes back into his book until another family comes along and reads it. The Babadook uses Amelia's longing for her husband to slowly deprive her of her sanity, but she eventually comes to accept her husband's death and manages to defeat the Babadook.
You're nothing! This is my house! You are trespassing in my house! If you touch my son again, I'll fucking kill you!
While this does sound like a pretty generic horror movie plot, which it is, but what makes it stand out of other horror movies is the fact that it rarely relies on jump scares or the main monster to produce a sense of uneasiness. I mean, there are like 3 jump scares in the film, and you see the monster like 4 times. One of those times is just hanging on a coat rack at a police station. It relies on the uneasiness of Amelia as she slowly loses her cool over the course of the movie. Now she conveys that through her actions as she becomes more and more hostile to those around her, to the point where she seriously considers killing her son. This makes the movie a much more scary experience than other movies, as it is more believable than other movies. I know this doesn't make sense, but hear me out. Other movies focus on the monster, and the monster is most of the times, a spirit coming to haunt you, or something along those lines. The Babadook focuses on Amelia and a slow descent to the brink of madness. The reason it's scary is that any person can lose their sanity. The audience sees themselves as Amelia, who is constantly being beaten down mentally by forces outside of her control. This happens to all of us every day, and this movie introduces us to the possibility that we might be going crazy as well. This is a stark contrast to other characters in other movies, as they are almost never relatable and rarely deal with relatable situations. In The Babadook, Amelia's husband dies. Your loved one could die, and the only thing you can do is deal with it. Amelia is a prime example of what happens if you can't deal with it, and the audience sees her situation a possibility to them. Let's compare this to a movie like Annabelle, where the main characters are 1v1ing a dead girl spirit. Yeah, doubt anyone would ever experience that. Anyway, let's talk about one of the most masterfully crafted scenes in The Babadook. The scene I'm talking about is near the end of the movie, when Amelia finally snaps and kills the dog and goes after Samuel. After she kills the family dog, her tone changes dramatically, as she tries to convince Samuel to drop his guard.
Bugsy's hurt. We need to get help. You don't want him to die, do you? Samuel, are you listening to me?
When that doesn't work, she drastically changes her behavior. She starts calling her child names that a mother shouldn't be calling a son.
You little pig. 6 years old and you're still wetting yourself.
The interesting thing about this is that the audience doesn't know if Amelia is the one swearing or cursing at a child. Amelia's actor, Essie Davis, has shown through acting that throughout the film that the relationship between Amelia and Samuel isn't a healthy one, and it's made obvious Amelia doesn't like Samuel. This adds another layer to what the audience is seeing on screen. After the acting, we got the lighting. During the scene there was almost no lighting. It is used to the point where it's just possible to see the characters. Conclusion, the scenes get darker the more the Babadook corrupts Amelia. The first time Amelia sees the Babadook is in broad daylight at the police station. This is when the Babadook starts to possess Amelia, and during the scene it is basically pitch black.